being able to take consistent and adequate rest has helped me become a lot more productive. Not just productive, I'm gonna let that truck pass by. Breathe. Hello, Ego Diana here. Welcome back to EGO Initiative, where we create self-care systems to help us live our best lives and support our communities without sacrificing our health. Happy Wellness Wednesday, you all. For today's Wellness Wednesday chat, I'm going to be continuing along with the What Self-Care Has Taught Me series. Today, I'm going to be talking about what self-care has taught me about entrepreneurship, the good, the not so good, and all the in-betweens that come along with, for me, being an entrepreneur, an artist, a student, all of the things. I'm also going to include a clip at the end of me answering one of my most frequently asked questions. A few weeks ago, I'd asked on Instagram some questions that folks had or were curious about my journey, who I am, what I do, why I do what I do. So after every video in this series, I'm going to be attaching a clip of me answering those questions until I run out of questions or move on to another series. So let's get started. Now, I know that entrepreneurship and self-care in itself can be a very convoluted subject matter or journey to venture into. People have different definitions of what self-care is and what it looks like. People have different definitions of what entrepreneurship it looks like, what it is and what it's not, etc., etc. And so I just want to share a little bit of my journey and what that has looked like for me and some of the lessons that I've learned. The first thing that self-care has taught me about entrepreneurship is that adequate rest is a game changer. Now, let me tell you, as someone who wears a lot of hats, and I'm sure that that's what entrepreneurship is looking like for a lot of people, and not to glorify the idea of being busy, but I am someone who does wear multiple hats and I enjoy all the things that I do. Over the years, I have definitely worked on not being someone who is busy being busy. And so the one thing that I have learned is that there's no point in me trying to do things when I'm tired. I'm not as productive as I think I'm being when I'm exhausted. I'm not a fan of burnout. I'm not trying to get there. I've come very close to it, and that is just not my thing. That's one of the reasons why I have always said that I want to live my life with ease, because I am doing my best to avoid burnout. Just because I have a lot on my plate does not necessarily mean that I want to be busy being busy. And so I found that being able to take consistent and adequate rest has helped me become a lot more productive. Not just productive, I'm gonna let that truck pass by. Breathe, y'all. Now I lost my train of thought. I found that I am a lot more, not just productive, but effective in what I'm doing when I've gotten enough sleep at night. If I'm getting tired or I'm getting restless, I have just decided to pause and take a break. It's really important for me to take that rest in between, and for you as well. I suggest if you're someone who's not getting enough rest, think about scheduling naps during the day, or making sure that you give yourself like a cutoff time for work so that you can really get into creating a nighttime routine to get you in the habit of making sure that you're getting adequate and enough rest. We touched on that a little bit in the first What Self-Care Has Taught Me with my sister. She had shared that she has a specific nighttime routine, and that's really important for her as a nurse who is always taking care of other people, and she works like multiple shifts in a day. So she has been very intentional about what her rest time looks like, what her nighttime routine specifically looks like, so that she is getting enough rest. Another thing is that rest is actually a commandment. I think it's beautiful that God, who created me and created everything in this world, he rested, and so why wouldn't I rest? I don't work on the Sabbath as is commanded, and that has definitely changed the game for me in terms of wanting to do the absolute most and overexerting myself in certain situations. Now, the next thing that self-care has taught me about entrepreneurship is that accountability is a requirement. If you've been following me for some time, you know that I always talk about the fact that your wellness is your responsibility. Taking care of yourself is your responsibility. As an adult, when we have passed the age of being taken care of by our parents, as an adult, self-care is your responsibility. I teach youth right now how to start thinking about prioritizing their wellness and taking care of themselves, because even from that age, it's very important that if you are not taking care of, you're able to advocate for yourself and ask for the things that you need in order to feel cared for and loved. Accountability just equates to responsibility. Who is responsible for what? Who are you responsible to? Who are you responsible for? All of those things are very important in entrepreneurship, in owning a business and running a business and a brand. It's really important that you are accountable to doing the things that you say you're going to do, providing the services that you say you do provide, and the transformation that you claim to provide, and just showing up for yourself and for the folks that you are wanting to serve. That is a big thing for me. I even have it down to a formula, as I have with most things. My formula for accountability is simply to decide, plan, and execute, rinse and repeat. And I do that every single time when I'm thinking about something that I'm creating, that I have to be accountable to other people for, that I have to be accountable to myself for. I decide what it's going to look like, what I want it to look like, what I want to get out of it, and then I make a plan to get there, and then I execute that plan, and it's just a rinse and repeat type situation. From the smallest decision I'm making to the largest one, it's exactly like that. And the way that self-care has brought me to that understanding is that with my self-care practices, I decide, if I recognize that I'm feeling some type of way and I want to include a self-care practice, I decide what I would rather feel like, where I want to be, and then I make a plan for that. So for example, going back to the last lesson, I was not getting adequate sleep. I want to feel more rested, more at ease. So I decided that I was going to try two things. I was going to try to go to bed early and maybe give myself an hour to sleep in, or I was going to schedule myself some naps during the day. When I realized that when I'm in school, it just, because I would have classes in the middle of the day, taking naps just was not working for me. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier. I'm going to sleep in a little bit. This is where I can cut some time and actually get more sleep. I'm also going to be intentional about my nighttime routine and then see what the changes are, type of thing. And so I decided, I planned, and then I executed, and then, I check back in to see if what's working, what's not, and then I kind of readjust that way. So that is what I mean by accountability is definitely a requirement, because in order to be in business, in order to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you have to deal with other people. So you are going to be accountable to other people. And how can you be accountable to other people if you don't know how to be accountable to yourself first? The third thing that self-care has taught me about entrepreneurship is that self-investment is powerful and necessary. I have been investing in myself from the jump at the beginning of my wellness journey. I will dive right in first and then I'll figure out the detail. I'm not using the word impulsive anymore because it has a negative connotation to it. That is not necessarily what it is for me. When I know I have been exercising, trusting my intuition and my gut feeling, when I know that something is going to be powerful, and not just that in itself, but I know my work ethic. I know that I'm going to put in the work in order for the transformation to happen. And so when I see something that I want to invest in and I notice something, I learn about something that I definitely would be useful for my journey and for me to learn and invest into, which in turn is just me investing in myself, I jump on it and I ask the questions later. I don't how am I going to afford this? That is no longer a part of my vocabulary. It's just, I know that I'm going to get a return on my investment because I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to actually put in the practices that I'm learning from whatever it is that I invest in. And so I have always been that person who is I'm gonna jump right in, I'm gonna get what I need to get out of this. I'm going to be able to multiply that moving forward and get a return on my investments. This has been a lesson from self-care to entrepreneurship because my wellness journey started with me paying for things that I didn't know what the results were gonna be, but visually the women that I was trusting to guide my journey at the beginning, I visually saw the life that they were living and I'm this is where I'm headed. This is what I would like to look towards. I've started investing in myself by way of my coach. I'm in an entrepreneurship membership club with Earn on Demand. I'm not just investing in their businesses, I'm also investing in myself because they're able to give me that exchange in value, and I'm taking that and multiplying that and adding to what I already know in my skill set, and then I'm able to pour that back into my community and the people that I serve, and it becomes a cyclical thing. And bonus tip I want to share with you all today: if all else fails, remember to breathe. Many of you who are watching this, you know about meditation, and if you don't, it's just simply the act of being present and being mindful of where you are and staying grounded. Tangibly, the practice looks like breathing exercises, or being guided by someone asking you to think about certain things and breathe in a certain manner, and making sure that you are grounded and bring your awareness back to the present and things of that nature. And for me, my favorite part of meditation is knowing that even when my mind quote unquote wanders or whatever, I can bring it back to the present by reminding myself of my breathing. I love breathing techniques, and I've loved sharing that within communities that I facilitate, because it is one of our greatest gifts, and I say this all the time, and we do not utilize it enough. We do not breathe intentionally and deeply enough. Not everyone gets to wake up the next day. Not everyone gets to breathe the next day. People have difficulty breathing. We're in the middle of a pandemic that attacks your respiratory system, and so it's really important that we're getting back to our breath. In this journey of entrepreneurship, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be highs and lows. You will definitely have some moments of failing, which it depends on your mindset, how you are going to look at it, as a fail or a lesson for you to learn. And so if anything, just come back to your breath, give thanks that you are still alive and you still have the capacity to be able to make a different decision, pivot in a certain way, and just give thanks because you are still here and many people aren't. Take a second and breathe and focus on just that and give thanks that you have the capacity to do that. Take advantage of that beautiful gift that you have access to at any point in time. I'm going to insert that clip of me answering one of my questions from my frequently asked questions. The first question I always get is, how are you so organized? One of the quickest answers that I always say to people, I do way too much for me to not be organized. I would lose my mind if I was not organized. But the way I stay organized is through scheduling and systems, which I talk a lot about. And I'm going to be actually doing a separate video just dedicated to scheduling. Probably going to do a separate video of what exactly my self-care systems are. I've been showing snippets of my self-care systems in different videos, but I will also dedicate a separate video to my systems. That's how I stay organized: systems and scheduling. All right, that is a wrap for today. I hope that served you and you were able to take some pointers from the lessons I have learned in my entrepreneurship journey into yours. And if you need further support with managing stress and maintaining your peace, especially throughout your entrepreneurship journey, I can support you by way of a one-on-one self-care strategy session where I sit down with you for about an hour and we walk through your visions and your goals, and we create a self-care system for you that fits your lifestyle. You can also purchase my Prioritizing Wellness course, which is self-paced. I walk you through my peace model for self-reflection and give you actionable steps and tools for each part of the process. If you want to learn more details about all of that, you can check the description box below. And of course, if you just want to be a part of the tribe, all you got to do is subscribe, pull up a seat, grab your water. I do not have water with me today, but make sure that you are drinking your water because that is important. Stay hydrated out here, folks. Say your piece in the comments below and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Peace and love.